Caleb has nothing to do with Adam and Eve. I don't know why people keep bringing up the whole Garden of Eden story when it comes to Caleb and MC's story. It makes no sense. So I didn't know that there were some people who were still saying that Caleb's relationship to apples is only supposed to be gravity. So I'm going to try and help out some people. This commenter was pretty rude, but I guess what? You activated my trap card because I love talking about the Paradise Lost, the Garden of Eden story, and how it relates to Caleb and MC. So let's get into it. So, a common argument that people make who, for some reason, want to ignore the Christian or religious influences in Caleb and MC's story or in Love and Deep Space, period, is the fact that Caleb's apple relates to Isaac Newton and that whole, nice little scenario of how the apple fell and he was like, oh, gravity real. But the apple isn't just about gravity and Isaac Newton, but it ties into the idea of falling in a religious context, and that being a fall from grace. Now, the forbidden fruit was never explicitly said to be an apple, but it's oftentimes depicted as one, so that's what we're gonna go off of, obviously. After Adam and Eve consumed this forbidden fruit, they became aware of their nudity. They became aware of evil. All sorts of things became more sinful and uncomfortable, and they were introduced to shame. Don't we think that shame connects to Caleb and MC's story? Also, awareness again is brought up through Caleb. He oftentimes asks MC, like, are you aware? They don't want to be aware of their feelings. MC is trying to act ignorant around her own feelings. Caleb struggles with them as well. So in acknowledging their feelings, they know that they're going to have to handle their own shame around those feelings, and they're going to fall together. They're going to have a fall from grace together. I especially love how in exclusive aftertaste they're like both holding the apple and approaching it, but they haven't taken that bite yet. But that acknowledgement that the feelings are there, but we're just not quite ready to cross that boundary and consume the apple and be completely aware of our feelings just yet. Even the idea of purity is brought up with their relationship when they were more ignorant, when they were children. Innocence being something that was pure. MC will bring up like, back when our feelings were pure, back when we were pure. That happens in the unicorn story and also in Caleb's wedding banner as well, his story. So obviously that kind of childlike innocence, similar to Adam and Eve, especially like I'm going more off of like a Paradise Lost interpretation. I think that's what they're going off of as well. And we're constantly seeing them associated with gardens. So, of course, the Garden of Eden. In the decoherence myth with Robo, Caleb, and MC, of course, we have that silver fruit seed and that idea of fruit and forbidden fruit and knowledge of, for them, it was more like the awareness of the outside world and the relationship to it. They are more innocent as well, and that kind of innocent playfulness and even that exploration of sexual attraction in an innocent, playful way, like we see in the 4-star card that came with that, ties into Paradise Lost and that pre-shame sexual desire. We also have Caleb and MC with like the self-awareness and that apple imagery we saw in the trailer. And also even in how they die, and that's that supernova that comes from them coming together, and that creates life. And so you could see that as Adam and Eve creating humanity. Also, Caleb is used to construct MC. When she's damaged, they took parts of Caleb and put them in her, and that is similar to how Adam or his ribs were used to create Eve. I think the writers took inspiration from Lucifer, Adam, and Eve and just kind of mixed it up between Caleb and MC. I don't think they're one or the other, just Adam, just Eve, just Lucifer. But one interesting thing I saw one person point out is how they saw MC as maybe being inspired by Lilith, which is a fun idea. And I think they said, and this is my interpretation, that inspiration could have come from the fact that MC wants to be a partner, an equal to her Adam, to Caleb, and not just, be under him, right? Here it would be like behind him. We know that Caleb's always like, oh, I wish you would just get behind me. And MC's like, my place is by your side, And eventually he does start seeing her as a partner and says that he wants her to be by his side and not just behind him. And yeah, I do find it funny that this commenter brought up how it's just science fiction and Caleb is really more like Frankenstein, and that we should keep Christianity out of this, and how it's just science fiction and don't bring up Christianity. I fear Christianity influenced Frankenstein as well. So, just to say that science fiction oftentimes does draw inspiration from religious texts, and Christianity being a very influential one, even if they're just taking certain motifs and using it as a way to explain certain phenomena, to be something that is uh, easy to recognize too for the audience, so they can understand the themes of the science fiction work. But yeah, if you have your own hangups around Christianity inspiring the content that you consume, then that's going to be a rough one, especially in Love and Deep Space. That's going to be tough. Um, yeah, uh, I don't know what to tell you, especially since we see Christian influences outside of even Caleb and MC's story. But anyway.